and welcome to VOSR International, the voice of shortwave radio. I'm your host, Wavecrest Guy. This broadcast is being transmitted by WRMI, Radio Miami International, in Okeechobee, Florida, on both 9455 and 15770 kilohertz. This broadcast is also being transmitted by shortwave radio in Lower Saxony, Germany, on 3975 kilohertz.
So we are going to go ahead and start out this broadcast with some announcements as usual. And I want to welcome everyone. This will be the first broadcast that is going out through Shortwave Gold on 6160 kilohertz. And that first broadcast is going to be on April 2nd, so 0402 of 26. And it is going to be running at the same time at 1900 UTC as our 3975 broadcast. They wanted to go ahead and try this out in the evenings. They were having some problems with interference with other broadcasts and propagation running 6160 kilohertz over the winter months. So they wanted to go ahead and give it a try and see how it's going to go. So we're going to do that at least through the month of April, and we'll see how this goes. So if you can, send us an email at VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. Let me know if you pick it up on 6160 kilohertz. I will be go ahead and I'll try to hop on a web SDR, and I try to do that throughout Europe to see how the transmission is going. And I will check it out also. But send me some messages. Tell me if you think it's coming in better than 3975 kilohertz. And let's see if this new frequency does work out. So let us know. We're excited to give this a try, and hopefully it'll get us out to more listeners. Next, let's talk about our website at VOSRinternational.com. You can go over there and you can check that out. There's a lot of information on there. I usually set up pages for segments of the broadcast with more information, with links and with pictures. So you can go check that out. And we also have our past broadcast links on there also. So you can go over there and pick up our past broadcasts and listen to them. It goes all the way back to the very first broadcast of February 28th of 2025. So all our broadcasts are on there. I usually wait a couple weeks just in case there's a rebroadcast or something before I put that on there. So right now it's probably only going till the first or second week of March, but then every week or so you'll get a new broadcast on there, and I always put that there. You can also check out those past broadcasts on my YouTube channel, Wavecrest Guy. I've got a playlist over there for all our full broadcasts. You can also go to the Internet Archive. And I've got a link over on our website for that. It's something that they just started a few weeks ago, and they've got all our broadcasts on there and links to it. You can just go over there and click on it and listen to it. We're also on Spotify. Don't get too many people over there, but they are available on Spotify also, where you can go and pick up our past broadcasts. So try to make it as easy as possible. Also on the website, we do have some VOSR International merchandise. We've got hats and shirts and notebooks and coffee cups and mouse pads, desk pads. But go ahead and check that out. And it does support the channel and keeps me on the air. So go ahead and check out the merchandise. You might find something that you like. Also, we have our VOSR International listeners map over there, and I put a pin on everyone's location that sends me an email. So if you send me an email with your location, I will go ahead and add a pin onto our map. It's filling out nicely. Still have a few states that we need in the United States. I think we're down to about a handful, but you can go ahead and check that out over there. And we also have our listeners radio page where you can send in a picture of your radios, of your radio room, your setup, and we will get those added on there also. They're really nice radios. Everybody in the hobby loves seeing what everybody else is using, and there's some nice old radios on there that people are using to pick up the broadcast. You can also keep updated with us over on Reddit. We are under Grundig Shortwave Radio. That is our subreddit group. You don't have to have a Grundig Radio to be a part of the group, but go over there, check it out. You can post over there. You can post reception reports, questions, just receptions, any receptions, and your equipment and questions, and you can go ahead and post over there on Reddit. And then we are also on Facebook. Just search under VOSR International and join the group over there. I do, when I get the reception reports posted over on Facebook, I do read those off during our mailbag segment, so you can keep up with us that way. I also try to announce when the show is going to be on, before the show is going to be on, that's going to be on in 9 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours. It kind of depends on where I'm at. And if I can get that post out, but I try to get posts on there every time that the broadcast is coming out within a short period of time. And don't forget, we do have some QSL cards. The stack is running low. I'm probably going to be making up some new ones. But you can send us in a reception report to VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. You can also head over to our website at VOSRinternational.com. Click on the mail icon, and you can send a reception report that way. And if you request a QSL card, I will go ahead and get one in the mail to you, and we'll get those out. Now, again, I do live in Molokai, Hawaii, so it does take quite a while to get the postcards. But please send me a message when you do receive it, because it helps me out, kind of gauge how long these will take to get when I mail them out. So that really does help. All right, now on with the show. So for this next segment, I just want to give a brief introduction because I recorded this segment quite a while ago. It was actually months ago. And it was just one of those segments that I had ready. And I do this from time to time. I have some segments ready, and I try to add them into broadcasts as I go along. But just because this was only it was a shorter broadcast, a shorter segment, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to work it in anywhere. Sometimes it brought the broadcast made it too long, and other times I just needed more of a segment to fill more time. So it just never fit a slot very well until now. So in going with this, though, I did mention on here this next segment is about a person that does restorations on Holocrafters radios. I believe they do a few other brands also. But at the time when I did this, they did have one that they had listed for sale on eBay that was still on there. That is not listed there anymore. But definitely check, because I know when he finishes some, he will put them on there. Some radios that he does get and that he's working on for himself, and then he'll end up selling them. He will list them on eBay. So definitely check. You can go over to eBay and you can save the store. And I give the information here in this segment. It's Holly Storer. And you can check that out. I will have some information over on our website with this. I'll have some links and I'll have some pictures that you can check out. But I just want to let you know this one was done a little while ago, and but it is still important to try to get these out here, because there's not a lot of people that do these restorations anymore. So here's the segment about Holly Restorer, and also let me know if you know anyone else that does this type of work on different brands of radios. I get quite a few questions on people looking for work being done on certain brands on some older radios, and it really is hard to try to find someone that does this type of work anymore. So please send that information in. If I do get end up getting a nice list, I will put a page on my website that just has links to people who do this type of work. So if you know someone that does do this, let me know, and let me know also if they want to talk about it, and we can get them here on the program and go over what they do. So here is the segment about Holly Storer. Next, I'm going to do a brief segment here from a email that I received from a listener, from Kenneth from Vermont, and he gave me some great information to my attention here
about old Helicrafters radios, and he gave a contact here and just a little bit of information that I want to pass along. That if anyone is interested in Helicrafters or having some restored, restorations done, repairs done, there is some information here that I'm going to pass along that you can check out. And this is firsthand information. He's had quite a few radios done by this person, and it really does excellent work. And you should see the pictures of some of the units that are done, and you can check those out here because I'll give you the information. Kenneth also sent in pictures of his radios, and I did put those over on the VOSR International website, so you can go over there and check those out. They'll be under Kenneth from Vermont. And so it says here there is one listed on eBay right now from this restorer, and you can put in Halley Storer is the name for the person who's selling the unit. And right now he has a Helicrafters S53A. Go check it out. It's just pristine. He does a great job. And so Kenneth writes here, this is one of the restorations from Mr. Volpe from Vernon Hills, Illinois. I personally have outright bought 2 of his radios and have 7 others that were restored by him on my behalf, 6 Halleys and 1 Crosley. I will seek no other restoration service. If you are lucky enough to own one of his radios, you possess a work of art. He's very professional, fair, ships flawlessly, and will keep you updated with pics and descriptions as the project moves forward. He does have a Facebook page, and it's under the title of the Halley Storer. That's Halley Storer, all one word. The content and images will speak for themselves. I can promise that you will be astounded. Some of my restored units are included on his page. And so I did put the picture that he sent me over on the VOSR International website. So he sent me this information. I went and checked it out, and yes, they are just beautiful, beautiful radios. So this is great information. I might even try to contact him and see if he'll want to talk about his radios or what he does. I'm sure he's extremely busy, so we might not want that any more advertising put out there and do a segment or talk to us about it. But I encourage you to go and check these out. These look fantastic, and it's kind of hard. It gets harder and harder to find someone who's still willing to do this work and who does the work well. And again, from the testimonial here and from the pictures that you're going to see of his work, these look pretty much brand new and how they came from the factory. So he does an excellent job. So go ahead and check that information out. If you got one of his restorations, send us an email, contact us. If you know somebody else who does this type of work, but maybe he specializes in a different brand of radio, send that information in. I could always pass it along. And everybody's always looking for these type of things, or for people who can do this type of work, because it's usually not, there's nobody local that can do that. And I definitely have that problem here on Molokai. We don't have anybody that does anything like this. There's hardly anybody that listens even with a shortwave here. But so send us an email at VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com, or head over to our website at VOSRinternational.com, and you can click on the mail icon and contact us that way.
All right, so this segment is going to be a little bit different of a programming segment. I got an email from Joe in New Jersey, and he brought to my attention that KNDI in Honolulu, it's an AM station, is going to be shutting down, and this is a sad reality for a lot of AM radio stations all across the U.S. for sure, and I'm sure in some parts of the world also, where AM is not so important to get communications out. So in looking at that, it was something I wasn't aware of. But in looking at it, I did check this out. And in getting more information about the station, I learned that this is one of the first radio stations that I actually picked up when I moved to Hawaii about 8 years ago. My first 3 years here in Hawaii, I lived on Oahu, and when I traveled to work every day, I went down. I lived in Waikiki, and I went down Beretania Street, and then that goes over to King Street, and I passed this radio station every day, going to work and coming home, and I didn't even realize it, but when I retired and came over here to our condo in Molokai, just doing some AMDXing, I was trying to pick up some stations. I always heard being on the water and everything, you should be able to get some good reception on some AM stations from all over. So I was trying that, and I picked up a station that was coming in Japanese. So I kind of thought I'd had Japan. And as I was listening, I was doing some research on the frequency that I found, and I found out that it was this station here in Honolulu. And this station is actually, that's its niche, that's its pride. It is a neighborhood type station in Honolulu. And it is there are so, if you think of the U.S. as a melting pot, Hawaii is that also, probably even more concentrated. There is so diverse in Hawaii, especially in Oahu. On Oahu, in Honolulu, there are so many different people from around the world that live there, and they still use their original languages. And this is one of the radio stations that definitely catered to that. So I do remember picking that up, that station up distinctly, and researching it, but I wasn't aware of their plight and of the problems that they have been having over there. To try to get the radio station still going. So I'm just going to read a little bit of history here on it. KNDI is a radio station located in Honolulu, Hawaii. It began its life as KNDI 1270 on AM, and the station is owned by Geronimo and Nellie Malabed. Through a license through Geronimo Broadcasting. And its on-air listeners are voices from around the world, and has been on the air since 1960. It was the first radio station in Hawaii to have an all-female air staff, hence the KNDI call sign, which phonetically spells out candy. And it features programming in languages of the Philippine language, Chinese, Cantonese, and Mandarin, Okinawan, Vietnamese, Lao, Spanish, Samoan, Tongan, and also in English, Marshallese also. So they again they run the gamut of broadcasting in different languages, and that is what really has kept them around for so long, finding that niche on Oahu, and being able to cater just like a small neighborhood broadcast would. And again, this is something that small towns had radio stations all throughout the U.S. I'm sure it was the same in Europe, and these are they're falling on hard times and have been for a long time, and they've been going away for a long time. So in 2025, the station began simulcasting on FM on 104.7, and I did pick them up in the morning when I was going to work. They were, I did pick them up on FM, and it was in English, so I did listen to them a bit also because they had a lot of local news on there. The station continued to broadcast on AM 1270 until March 10th of 2026, when they had to vacate their AM transmitter tower, effective immediately. The order came from the Department of Hawaii Homelands, who owns the property that the tower stands on. They cited undefined safety concerns as their reason. The station opened up a GoFundMe campaign to raise money to return to their AM frequency, with a stated goal of $18,000. Now, I had heard they're also trying to move to a different location, and if they do that, it's going to cost substantially a lot more money, but it will probably be better off in the long run. So again, I just kind of wanted to bring it up. It's definitely a local story here in Hawaii, but I'm sure that a lot of people have lost a lot of gems on the AM bands over the years, and can definitely relate to this. So I want to thank Joe for sending this in. Then Joe also sent me an email mentioning another station, and this one is in Japan. And Joe writes, NHK program 2 AM stations will be signing off for good on Sunday at 5:05 AM Hawaii time. That's 15:05 UTC. Both of those stations are 500 kilowatt stations on 693, 747, 774, and 873. Don't know if you've heard these stations before, but it'll be your last shot to pick up those big signals. And I did try to do that before this Sunday deadline to listen to them, and I wasn't able to pick them up here. I used my my Odson DX286 with my Grundig AN200 antenna. And I also tried out a couple other radios too, just to see if that would make any difference. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to pick them up. But and I do kind of, we had storms coming through again too. So I don't know if that affected it. This would have been better if I'd have done it maybe a couple months ago. Or maybe during last summer. But again, I'm going to be trying with with that Odson DX286, trying to pick up some long distance AM stations on that, and knowing that on the dial they don't go by 5 kilohertz, or by 10 kilohertz. Sorry, there's 693, 747 here for this NHK one. So I will be trying to do that. And again, thanks, Joe, for bringing this to my attention. I was able to try to give it a try anyways, and unfortunately it didn't happen, but it is something that I will do even another segment on, and then I'll probably even have a video on it, so you can go over there and check out the video when I'm trying out the Odson 286 DX286 radio, and that'll be a follow-up segment that I had a few weeks ago. All right, so tell me what you think. Have you run into this? Have you had one of your favorite AM stations go by the wayside years ago or decades ago even, because this has been going on for quite some time with AM. But let us know if you've had some of your favorite stations sadly having to close, and what were they, and we can read them on the air for others that might bring back some memories. Send us an email at VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com, or head over to our website at VOSRinternational.com, and you can click on the mail icon and contact us that way. And now, onto the mailbag. First, we'll start out with a couple of regular listeners over on Discord. And first, we have Master Player 30, and he was picking us up on 5850 kilohertz, and it was coming in at a plus 40 there. And that was on a Kiwi SDR. And then we also had Guillermo from Indianapolis picking us up on 5850 kilohertz. And I want to thank everyone over on Discord who hops on there when the broadcast is going on and lets me know how the reception is coming in at their locations. Thank you so much. And now moving over to our Facebook page over at VOSR International. And we have Moreno from Miami, Florida. This was back from the March 26th broadcast, and he was listening from Miami, so this wasn't too long of a distance. It was only, I believe he put down here about 136 miles, but he was listening on 5850 kilohertz, and I know sometimes, so this was from March 20th, I'm sorry, and I know sometimes people that are really close to the transmitters don't pick them up as much. They have some issues picking them up. I don't know if the transmission goes over them or what, but he was able to pick us up well over in Miami. Well, thanks for posting, Moreno. Then we had Gerald, and he posted a picture of his Grundig satellite 750, and that he was just using his whip antenna heard in Texas, and he was listening on the 94.55 kilohertz, and hopefully he was listening to his own segment there on Radio Tahiti. So thank you so much for posting and hosting, Gerald. Next, we have John Joseph Anthony, who posted a nice clip of VOSR International running on his radio. And John had posted that he had just started listening getting into shortwave, and he picked up an older shortwave radio, over at Goodwill. And I do have that picture on our website at VOSR International. I think I grabbed a screenshot. But you can go over to our Facebook webpage, and you can actually see it in action over there. Really nice radio. And John, I'm glad you've become a regular listener. Thanks again. And next we have regular listener Harry from Central Finland. He says, Aloha, Jeff. I was listening to VOSR on the 26th of March on 3975 kilohertz in Central Finland, so-called Lake Finland, with a Kiwi remote receiver with a 160-meter horizontal loop antenna. Signal was a nice S7 level with no issues with reception. An SINPO of 44444. He did also do a clip, and a screenshot was attached with the email. And he writes that it was an interesting. It's going to be an interesting test on 6160 kilohertz. He writes, many thanks for the program. It is always interesting to hear from other listeners' reactions and news from shortwave band. Special thanks for the Tahiti program. That was a great segment, and I want to thank Gerald again, and we've been getting some really nice comments about that segment. Thanks again, Gerald, and thank you, Harry, for writing in. And next we have regular listener Justin from Wisconsin, and he was listening in on 94.55 kilohertz with a RSP Duo and a MLA 30 plus antenna. Reporting a SINPO of 55455. Great signal there. And he writes, great show as always. Thanks for picking us up there, Justin. Thanks for continuing to listen. And thank you for the reception reports. It really helps me know how this signal is going out. You just never know. Thanks again. And next we have messages from Gary in Seattle. So he sent a nice screenshot or a nice picture of his Grundig Satellite 800 Millennium, one of my favorite radios, and it was hitting S9 on the meter there over in Seattle, which is extremely good. I usually get about S7 here. Sometimes I get up to S8, and I've very rarely made it up to S9. But S7 here in Hawaii does have a really makes it really nice for listening. Then Gary also sent a message on March 27th for that broadcast, and it says, hey, Jeff, you are coming in perfect in Seattle, Washington, USA, and that was at 0311 UTC, and that is 8:11 Pacific time, that his time there. I'm playing on my brand new light Mallard SP M-Lite 880 on my antennas log antenna. That's an antennas Z at the end, log antenna. You are coming in as perfect as I've ever heard on a portable. Thank you to the Malahit team for this radio. And he has said nothing but great things about that radio. I'm going to take a look at it, and I'm going to maybe try to do a segment on it, and we can get some information out there on this radio that he's been having such great luck with. Thank you again for continuing to pick up the show, Gary. And next we have regular listener Adrian from Malta, and he was listening to the show on March 26th on 3975 kilohertz via an SDR-20 from Malta with an SINPO of 55454. And I'm going to be really curious, Adrian. Let me know if you're able to pick up the program on 6160 kilohertz, and let me know if it's any better than picking it up on 3975 kilohertz. Thanks again, Adrian. And next we have an email from Hidemi at Tokyo, Japan. And he writes, I am pleased to report the reception of your broadcast on March 26th on 3975 kilohertz, and I was listening through WebSDR in the Netherlands. And he writes, hello, Jeff. How's everything going with you? Has the storm been affecting you and your island by itself badly? Hopefully everything is okay with you. The segment about Radio Tahiti was of great interest to me. I got to try listening to the station. Radio Japan NHK has been broadcasting in Japanese for Japanese people in overseas 24 hours since the USA and Israel versus Iranian war started. You probably know this, but I thought it was interesting. I hope you find my reception report useful. I'm so happy to listen to your program today. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you so much for the email. It's great to get these messages from all over, and for becoming a regular listener, Hidemi. I really appreciate it. It is really great that you continue to pick us up every week and sending in these reception reports. Fantastic. Thanks again. And just one more time on the storms. Yes, the storms have finally passed, and they were really bad, and our roads were hit really bad with mud and with rocks and debris on them. They have cleared up. A couple days after the storms went through, we were able to get back into town. There really is only one road going into town, like there is on many of these smaller islands. They're just piles. If you're, from the U.S. or someplace, Finland, where you're getting just a ton of snow and then it gets plowed, and you get these big piles of snow that last through all winter. Well, right now we have those huge piles that are probably 20 feet high of rock and dirt and mud that were pushed off the road, and it's going to take a long time to get those off the sides of our road. Some spots is even narrow on the road, going into town. So it definitely could have been worse. I know Oahu has some areas that were hit. We definitely have some homes here that were flooded, but it seems like no one was hurt, and everyone is in recovery mode, and it is moving along. So thanks for everyone's concern. And next we have an email from Roman. And he reports, hello, I enclosed a reception report on shortwave 3975 kilohertz. I have also attached a photo of my radio system. And so Roma did send this in, and I am going to be putting it up on our VOSR International website. Really nice setup he has there. Nice radio room. It's excellent. I'm glad you were able to find us, Roman. I haven't answered back your email yet, but I'm going to answer you if you can let me know your location. I can get a pin put on the VOSR International listener map, and then I will also add this picture that you sent onto the Listeners Radio's Rigs page on our website. Thanks again, Roman. And next we have an email from Michael, and he writes, hello. I was tuning around on my Realistic DX390 and came across your program on 328 on 5850 kilohertz. I enjoyed your programming, broadcast, and QSL cards from the past. No DX, I'm in the U.S. Northeast, but I heard you loud and clear with just a portable telescopic antenna. Thank you, Michael. I will be answering your email here shortly also. And the same thing, if you give me your location, I will get you a pin on our listeners map, and we can get that taken care of. So be looking for that email. And thanks for writing in, Michael. And next we got an email from Jimmy Ray, and he writes, 5 by 5 tonight. I'll check out the other frequencies next week. Best wishes. And he's listening to us on a World War II BC -348Q and Allen Co. DXR8. Some nice radios. Jimmy, if you can send us pictures of those, I'll get those put on the website. That'd be really nice. And again, this is another one I will be answering this email here, and we'll be able to get a pin on your location added onto our VOSR International listeners map. So be expecting an email back from me, Jimmy. Thanks again. And next we have an email from Jeff from Ottawa, Canada. He writes, howdy, March 28th, 2026. heard from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Good signal, mostly 5 and 8, and a bit of static at times. Thanks for the show. And thanks for writing in. Thanks for taking the time, Jeff, and letting me know how the signal's coming in over there in Ottawa. All right, so that's going to conclude our mailbag segment. Please keep the communications coming in. Let us know which segments you like. Respond with some comments. The segments is always great. I'll read those on the air, and also just reception reports. It's always so important for me not only to know that people are out there listening, but how the program is being transmitted and being received all throughout the world. So it's really important that I continue to get these communications. And it is really great when people are just tuning in, turning the dial, and then come across our program. I've gotten so many new listeners that way. And I know I have picked up many broadcasts, many transmissions that I end up going back to and listen that same way. Just turning the dial, trying to pick up something different, trying to pick up something new, and then it ends up becoming a program that I listen to all the time. So those are really great emails to get. So keep emails coming in, and it's easy to get a hold of us. Send us an email at VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. You can also contact us through Facebook. Go over to our page on Facebook and join there, VOSR International. And then also you can go over to our website at VOSRinternational.com, and you can click on the mail icon and contact us that way. And now a programming segment. This one's going to be on CHU radio station out of Canada. And this is one of the national measurement standards broadcasts, like WWV and WWVH in the U.S. And I actually picked this one up here on Molokai in Hawaii quite a while ago when I first started, and I was just going through the dial and came across them. And sometimes, if you didn't know about these stations, which I didn't know about CHU at the time, and they're kind of hard to pick up if you don't know they're there, because they're, just going through, some beeping, or, they have a cadence to them that they are transmitting out. And this one here, after I did discover it and researched it some, I was actually kind of surprised that I was able to pick it up here in Hawaii. Now, of course, I did pick it up later at night, but it is only being transmitted at on two different frequencies at 3 kilowatts, and then one frequency it was kicking out at transmitting at 5 kilowatts. And that's the one that I did pick it out on the 5 kilowatt transmitter. Just the thing about these that I always find interesting is that there's a lot of history behind these, just like there was with WWVH. I gave the history of that. I actually did drive by it when I was on Kauai my last trip, and I posted some pictures over on our website at VOSRinternational.com. That page is still there. You can just flip back through the pages, and you'll be able to see that. It is on a military base, so I wasn't able to go in, but I was able to get some pictures from outside, and I even did get a picture of the antenna. But these radio stations, they have a lot of history, and they are coming under fire a little bit also with budget cuts from many countries. So it's one of those things that these are, and what I use these stations for are kind of benchmarks on how propagation is going. I can go over. Of course, I use them for time too. Whenever I want to set a clock, I head over to WWVH here in Hawaii. So it does help with that for sure. But I use them as benchmarks for propagation, and so I can go to those stations, see how well they're coming in, and then I have a pretty good idea of how the night is. And since finding CHU, I've done the same with that one. I've used that one. If I hear that one coming in, then I know that the propagation is coming in pretty good. All right, so I'll just go over a little bit of information here. CHU is the call sign of a shortwave time signal radio station operated by the Institute for National Measurement Standards of the National Research Council. CHU signal is used for continuous dissemination of official Canadian government time signals derived from atomic clocks. So it transmits on three frequencies, 3.33 megahertz, 7.85 megahertz, that's the one that I catch it on, and 14.67 megahertz. The power, the 3 kilowatt transmitter is on 3.33 megahertz and 14.67 megahertz, and then it transmits at 5 kilowatts on 7.85 megahertz. So that one does have more power. So if you're on the outskirts or propagation is bad, your chances are best probably at 7.85 megahertz. All right, so let's get into a little bit of the history. Radio time signals allowed accurate and rapid distribution of time signals beyond the range of telegraph and visual signals. This was of particular value in surveying remote areas where time signals allowed accurate determination of longitude. In the summer of 1914, a survey party at the Quonset Dam on the Ottawa River watershed attempted to receive time signals transmitted from Kingston. However, the signals were not resolvable, and the time signal from NAA in Arlington, Virginia, were used instead. The station was started in 1923 by the Dominion Observatory in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, with a call sign of 9CC on an experimental basis until 1928, so that was a 5-year period. Regular daytime transmission begun under the call sign of VE90B in January of 1929 on a wavelength of 40.8 meters, and that is about 7.353 megahertz. Continuous transmission at 90 meters began at the end of 1929, with other wavelengths being used experimentally. Time signals were generated from the observatory's own pendulum clocks, and the transmitter's oscillators were condenser tuned, so frequency stability was not high until the quartz control system was implemented in 1933. In 1938, the call was changed to CHU, like it is now, operating on frequencies of 3.33, 7.335, and 14.67 at the transmitting power of only 10 watts at the time. And again, this was 1938. The 1000 hertz tone imposed on the carrier was derived from the quartz oscillator that determined transmission frequency, but the seconds pulses were still derived from the observatory's pendulum clocks. The station automatically sent its call sign in Morse code once per hour, and the pulses were coded to identify the time of day. Since CHU power was not high enough to cover much of Canada, including survey parties working in the north, observatory time signals were also transmitted by the Department of Transport Station with a 2 kilowatts of power. In 1947, 3 new transmitters with 300 watt power were installed for the 3 frequencies, located in the station's present rural location. In 1951, a Collins transmitter rated for 3 kilowatts was put into service on 7.335. The purpose of this station was to provide accurate timekeeping information, especially to rural and remote areas that didn't have local access to accurate time. The station also pioneered the use of microwave and satellite communications to transmit its signal to remote areas. Initially, the signal consisted of a constant frequency interrupted by patterns of Morse code pulses to indicate the time. In the 1930s, station identification via Morse code was added to the transmission. Since deciphering even a simple time code by ear was occasionally difficult under field conditions, voice announcements of time and station identifications were added to CHU in 1952. Using a speak clock made in France, and the Canadian Embassy in Paris recorded the time announcements in English, which were stored on strips of photographic film, played back under the control of the observatory clocks. In 1960, the speaking clock was replaced with one manufactured by a different corporation, and it was rented out to the Dominion Observatory. This unit had more intelligible voice quality and lower maintenance. New English voice announcements were recorded by Harry Manus of Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Bilingual announcements started in 1964, with French speech provided by CBC in Montreal. The station switched to digital audio in the 1990s. Until 1959, the carrier frequency tone and second pulses were derived from independent sources, and the carrier stability as that of a commercial shortwave transmitter. A divider chain was put into service so that all of these CHU signals were derived from Western Electric Standard crystal oscillators, with pulses for seconds monitored by continuous comparison with the observatory clocks. By 1978, all parts of the CHU transmitted signal were derived from NRC-designed cesium beam frequency standard. Also in 1959, the 14.67 MHz transmitter was replaced with a new 20 kilowatt unit. All site antennas were replaced with vertical antennas by 1971, and the station continued to operate by the observatory until 1970, when its operation was transferred to the Institute for National Measurement Standards at the National Research Council. Effective January 1st of 2009, the 7.335 MHz frequency was changed to 7.85 MHz. The change was necessary due to ITF-HF global reallocation at the 2003 World Radio Conference, where 7.3 MHz range was reallocated to broadcasting. The power output was later reduced from 10 kilowatts to 5 kilowatts due to complaints from New Zealand that the signal was causing interference on its new frequency. Now some information on the transmission system. The station was unmanned and equipped with a modified 1960s-era 10-kilowatt transmitters and is controlled remotely by the National Research Council's headquarters on Montreal Road. CHU transmits 3-kilowatt signals on 3.33 and 14.67 megahertz, and a 5-kilowatt signal on 7.85 megahertz. These non-standard time signal frequencies were chosen to avoid interference from WWV and WWVH. The signal is amplitude modulated and the lower sideband suppressed. The same information is carried on all three frequencies simultaneously, including announcements every minute, alternating between English and French. The CHU transmitter is located near Berehaven, Ontario, that is about 10 miles southwest of Ottawa's Central Business District. The systems feeding the transmitters are duplicated for reliability and have both battery and generator protection. The generator can also supply the transmitters. The announcements are made using digital recorded voices, including individual vertical dipole antennas are used for each frequency. CHU has long been licensed as a fixed service within the band allocation of the International Telecommunication Union. As of 2020, CHU has 3 automated clocks at the station, contained in a special enclosure to eliminate possible electromagnetic interference, and compared with the atomic clocks at the NRC's headquarters. CHU does mail QSL cards to acknowledge listeners' receptions. And yes, I have seen some posts online where people did get communications back from CHU. So I'm thinking that this is they still do that. I know WWVH still does and WWV does. So that is something that I should probably do. I did it to WWVH. I did send, and I did get a nice package back from them with quite a bit of information. And I did one of my first segments that I did was on WWVH, and I have that information there. And I have a lot of pictures over on that page that I set up on our website correlating to that segment. So it'll be on one of the first pages there if you head over to the VOSRinternational.com website. The time signal format for the CHU, and I've got a couple short clips here that I'm going to play, and this is a typical broadcast with an English voice announcement. And then they have the same clip here, and this one is in French. So that's typically what you're going to hear in the cadence of those signals, from these time stations are pretty similar. So the primary time signal is a series of 300 millisecond long 1000 hertz tones transmitted once per second on the second. The following exceptions to the pattern provide additional information. The top of the minute is marked by a half a second long beep. The top of the hour is marked with a 1 second long beep, followed by 9 seconds of silence. The 29th second of the minute is always omitted. There is no beep on the 29th second. Between 1 and 16 seconds past the minute, except at the top of the hour, CHU transmits the difference between UT1 and Coordinated Universal Time by using split tones. For positive DUT1 values from plus 0.1 to plus 0.8 seconds, 1 through 8 are split. For negative DUT1 values, from negative 0.1 to negative 0.8 seconds, seconds 9 through 16 are split. So between 31 and 39 seconds past the minute inclusive, 1 per second tones are reduced to 10 millisecond ticks, while a digital time code is transmitted. The digital time code is formatted so that a Bell 103 compatible 300 baud modem can decode it. And CHU is the only time signal station that uses this format for its time code transmissions. For the last 9 seconds of each minute, seconds 51 through 59, the once per second tones are again cut to 10 milliseconds each, while CHU transmits on a brief voice station identification, followed by voice announcements for the next minute in UTC, alternating between French and English. French announcements using the voice of Radio Canada and are transmitted first on the odd minutes, while English announcements are voiced by CBC Radio announcer Harry Manis come first on the even minutes. The digital time code sends 10 characters at 30 bits per second using 8N2 asynchronous series communication. This follows the Bell 103 standard, and a 2,225 hertz tone is to represent a mark, that'll be 1 bit, and a 2,025 hertz tone for a space, that's a 0 bit. Immediately after the 10 millisecond tick, a mark tone is sent until 133.3 milliseconds, then the 110 data bits ending at precisely 500 milliseconds. The final stop bit is extended by 10 milliseconds of mark tone to ensure it is detected reliably, and the final 490 milliseconds of a second are silent. The time of day in the day of year through second is transmitted twice during each second from 32 to 39. During second 31, an additional information year DUT1 daylight savings time and a leap second warning bits is transmitted. So again, there's a whole system that they have that they follow these transmissions, and they've been doing that for quite some time now. So now we'll just go over a bit on the Western Canada signal coverage. CHU often cannot be received in Western Canada on any of its broadcast frequencies. Propagation conditions and low transmitter power, coupled with the distance from Ottawa, typically 2 ionospheric hops, result in relatively weak signals from Western Canada, for Western Canada. In the West urban areas, electromagnetic interference can further aggravate the reception difficulty. CHU can be particularly unuseful in most of Western Canada and Northeast Territories for significant stretches of time. U.S. stations WWV and WWVH are the fallback in most of Western Canada. In the high Arctic, however, both U.S. shortwave time stations and CHU become essentially unusable and unreliable. Canada has no long-wave time signal transmitters, and the American station WWVB is the only option for reliable time signals during the geometric storms in the Western Arctic, based on WWVB's published pattern maps. If WWVB is not available, those who need precision time transfer must be able to use GPS time transfers instead. So there you have it. There's some information on and some history on CHU out of Canada. Let me know, have you heard this one before? Do you listen to it and use it regularly? Do you use it as a gauge for propagation? Send us an email at VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. And you can also contact us over on our website at VOSRinternational.com. You can click on the mail icon and contact us that way. Also, let us know if you sent in and got some QSL information back from CHU and when you might have done it, if you've done it years ago or if it was just something recently.
And that concludes our broadcast. Be sure to catch our broadcasts every Saturday at 0300 UTC on 9455 kHz, and also on Saturdays at 2300 UTC on 15770 kHz, transmitted by WRMI Radio Miami International from Okeechobee, Florida. We are also broadcasting on Thursdays at 1900 UTC on 3975 kHz, transmitted by shortwave radio in Lower Saxony, Germany. Until next time, ahoy ho everyone.